and happy spring equinox. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christine, and I have the pleasure to co host with.
The spiritual G, who's also Christine the spiritual G. And I was just saying because our mics didn't work. So maybe right now the time is to drop the mic and flow. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shit. Okay, okay, okay. So how are you feeling during this equinox?
Well, I feel really lit up from the conversation that we've been having today. And so this is why we decided to come on live because we've had so many conversations that are like podcast style conversations where we get really deep into what's happening in the collective energy and what's happening in our own lives and how these are weaving the gap of creation itself and how we can use these themes to propel our lives forward and also break through the things that could possibly be a challenge on the way.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel like this energy today was like forward momentum, but also, it's like on our way out, we got a couple things that just kind of pop up to see like where we at with that. And I think what's important during this time, like I was saying with the unknown, right? We're in this unknown period of like rebirth. It's the springtime, except here it's fucking winter still. But I was
And
in the
where's here?
swamp. But
Where's
we're
here for
here. We're vibrationally, we're here. We're like at a different frequency from all the death portals and like all the sacred release and things that we've been doing. And I was just like, maybe what we need to focus on right now is being the vibe, right? Being the vibe with what we're creating next. Like, what are we planting? What's the vibe? And Christine, and I were talking, and next thing you know, she's like, "Yo, man, this is the vibe. We gotta get on. We gotta embody the next version of us, right? All the things that we're talking about, like, yo, I want to do this. I want to do this. Like, the real work is when the pull, the little oh shit, I want to do this. Like, are we going to meet that? And Christine, thankfully, was like, yo, this is a podcast. We need to get on this right now. We need to embody this version that we're calling in. And I was like, it's true. Like, I'm not like ready. Like, I'm like in my PJs and stuff. But at the same time, we were just so in flow that it made sense to get on here. So I'm glad that you named that because that is actually how we start to create the next reality is following the breadcrumb.
Yeah, one of my mentors always says success loves speed. And I believe that there is a lot of truth in that because once you have the idea, right, it's starting to culminate and form into reality. It's like if you don't continue to feed the energy that is growing inside of you, and we've seen how it happens. Like when you are ripe with an idea that is meant to expand, that's meant to grow, meant to create change in your life and other people's lives, all kinds of obstacles, in the there's a book Napoleon Hill wrote called Outwitting the Devil, right? He calls it the devil, and some people call it the opponent, right? Some people call it the ego. However you
Mhm.
look at the terminology of it, it comes in when you're on the brink of a breakthrough, when you're on the brink of getting to another level in your expansion, in your expression, in your embodiment. That's when all of these forces start to come, but know that those forces are coming because with the greatness of the creation that's inside of you, you're going to meet the equal opposition. And
Mm.
when you meet the equal opposition, know that something amazing is getting ready to happen in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree on that. It's like right when we're about to like meet that threshold and just like break through, there's something that comes in to kind of test us. And now I see it as a game, like it's one of those scenes, in the end scene, there's something that happens right before you begin the next one. So I think in that moment, I'm learning to reframe of like, it's not so much an obstacle. It's just that like we're now ready to meet that obstacle. That thing that's like here to even amplify us further into our next scene, our next path, our next version of us. So, whatever we're meeting right now in the process of our becoming to this next version of us, is just like, it's just confirmation that we are ready to meet that, like head on and hard on, and just be like, okay, yeah, okay, like hit me up. Like, I'm ready for it. I could hold it. I could move through it. I could, you know, that's
That
it. That's
part.
it.
That part,
Yeah.
and that part is where we're actually coming up against our edge. And our edge is where the current container, where our current reality, our current sense of self is meeting where it's ready to go to another level. And so this can also be considered where your capacity is being expanded, right? Where we are being stretched. So
Mm,
and the opposition is actually quite intelligent that it comes into our life because it's there to like create the ingredients inside to create the ruffling up, the shaking up that actually awakens and invokes the
yeah.
qualities inside of us that need to be
Yeah.
present for this next level creation.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It's really interesting how this all works, and like you said, you're in a space of expansion and then something comes in to kind of like drive us even more forward to take that action. It's that moment of like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. Like this just ain't my vibe. Like I can't stay here anymore. And that's the breaking point for everyone. That's when you're like, shit, I am ready to go. So that little opposition piece is just that sort of like kickstart reminder of like, yo, you are ready to go. Like this is gonna hit in a different way. So I hear you on that. Yeah, it's a beautiful journey.
I
We're
love that.
here. Yeah.
Love that. I love the way that you bridge the gap between human design and astrology and just all of these different ways that you see the world. It's always so insightful and so expansive. And so I would love for you to, if you feel called to share, what is the energy that's going on right now? Today we're in the equinox. What does this represent in the world? What's happening? What is this new energy that's happening?
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, yeah, I like to look at human design and astrology a lot in the journey that I'm on, because I feel like, yeah, it's we move as a collective as well, and we're getting out of the retrograde today. So the Mercury is going direct, right? But even then there's still the shadow period until the ninth. And Mercury is all about the planet of communication that was going backwards. So this is where we had time to review and assess, right? And we had just talked about how with the equinox it's like we're going through another threshold, we're going towards another shift, another season, like the spring. It's like birthing, like new ideas, like planting. That's why I'm very much about planting the vibe right now, even if you can't fully see it clear, because we're all kind of coming out of the review process, the reevaluation, and people are at certain stages different than others, and that's why some people are still in this release, in the identity death, right? It's not like we're not necessarily all at the same place, but we're in the similar sort of phase of like this liminal space of becoming this next version of us. So that's how I see it. I kind of like I feel the shift within me, like this newness that's happening, and this is where we get to work with this energy. We get to focus on where we're moving forward towards, even if we don't have the clear picture. So astrologically, like this is a potent time for us to really plant the seed, get into the vibe. Like, what is this next scene that you want to be on? Like, what is this next version of you that wants to, like, what does it want to do? And this is where, once again, I'm going back to the fact that good thing you called us out. Like, I'm all about following the pull, following what's alive. And in that moment, I was like, I don't know. But then we realized that you had planned to do a podcast today, or you had that in your field, right? This is a feeling that we have. Oh, I kind of want to do a podcast today. And then I had that too. So it was actually in sync. And that's when we know, okay, we may not have all the answers. We may still be like, going through little identity, the rest of what needs to fall away, but we could definitely follow what's alive. And that is all about the equinox. It's like, this is the shift. This is the moment where we're going more into the forward momentum. We have, oh yeah, and it's Aries season as well. Like today is the retro going direct, Aries season starting, right? We're going from the Pisces to the Aries. Aries is all about like self leadership, like initiation, like bold action. Like this is where we put what we've been reviewing into action, and that could be in little steps. But as long as we're moving in the direction intentionally, vibrationally, where we want to grow and cultivate, like I think we're right on time. The collective is on time. We just, yeah, we letting go, and we galloping one step at a time. Gallop.
I love that. And, one of the symbols that were coming to me as you were expressing that, there's a flower called the dahlia. And the
Mhm,
way that the dahlia operates is it contracts and then it opens and then it
mhm,
closes and then it opens even more and then it closes and it opens even more. And I've been feeling like that is the perfect example of what's been happening because I've been having like massive expansion and then also like some deep contraction, but every time the deep contraction happens, it makes way for an even broader spectrum of experience, spectrum of skill, spectrum of strategy. It's like you go into these spaces so you can uncover the gems so that you can be, well equipped for what you are cultivating so that your vessel can hold the creation, right? Like you can think about a
mhm,
pregnant mother before she becomes a mom. Her body is going through all this psychological physiological changes to hold this creation, right? And so
mhm.
many of us have been going through that in many different ways, and I think we go through it, continuously in life as we continue to rebirth new versions of ourselves, new iterations, new levels, and I do believe that there's a constant of growth that is always happening. And so,
Mhm.
as much as the theme, right? Because a lot of people that are speaking on the energy of the fire horse and the cosmology and the astrological approach to the fire horse energy is like, this is not a year to be doing inner work, right? This is a year to like gallop and go forward. It's like it doesn't matter what season you're in, you're going to be doing some level of mechanical internal processing in order to create a new version of yourself, you know and in order to take the gems and the wisdom of your life and now use it to propel you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's true. Everybody's saying like, last year was the year of the snake, so a lot of shedding was occurring. And now it's the forward momentum with the fire horse, which is definitely a little bit of a polar opposite energy. But this is the thing, right? Like we're all in our own sort of process and journey. And that's where it's like there is a collective energy happening, which amplifies that. Now the amplification is going around forward movement. Now it's going around the fire, before we're going around shedding more. So it doesn't mean that we're not meant to shed at all this year. I think that we're kind of, I think right now what's happening is that those who have been quote unquote avoiding the shedding from last year, they're going to feel that probably a lot more because now the movement is like, yo, we're moving forward. So you either like shedding your shit and coming, like right now, like right now, or you gonna like sit in these layers and you ain't gonna be riding on the energetic momentum. So I think what it is that wherever you're at, we're being pulled or moved forward energetically, and so it'll just be like you going to that next space. Maybe that's vibrationally, maybe that's one of the step in the physical, like we don't know, it depends where you're at. But I think it makes it a lot harder for you to be in the quote unquote like avoiding your shedding if you haven't shed, because
Yeah.
now it's like it's going to be too heavy for you to carry,
Yeah,
and you're gonna
exactly.
feel the weight now because you're feeling like, oh my God, I want to go, but shit, I can't yet, and that's okay. But honor that as well, and that's maybe the call for people that haven't been doing it. It's like you best doing it because this is the vibe that is gonna catapult you towards the thing that you want. And sometimes you don't have clarity until you do that release, until you sit with your feelings and you really go in deep. Then you can make space. You talked about contraction, expansion. It is like it's a dance. When you contract, you expand, and the when you contract, you do, like you said, make more room. Like the whole purpose of this, of why we go through this, is because we want to go deeper. We want to make more space for the physical to come in, but also for the energy to hold. You want to make that space. You want to be able to receive more. So this is why I keep bringing it back to like heart. Like we're here to initiate through experiences where we do have to break open. We do have to break open. Our ego has to like shed. Our identity needs to quote unquote die before we go on to the next version. So now we have space to move in a way where it's not like a constant push and pull vibe. Now you're like, oh shit, I'm my suitcase. Like I let that shit go. I got more space, man. I got more space in my fucking suitcase to bring things that I actually really want now. So that's kind of how I see it. But yeah.
And I also see it as like less of a fragmentation where all these different parts of you are like competing against each other and coming into union. It's like we can see and hear and feel all of these things without exiling them or denouncing them. And they can have a room and they can have a voice and they can be seen too. And they can be a part of the journey that
Mhm.
actually takes us forward. And
Yeah.
and I love what you said because a huge part of your work and this work is
Mm.
the heart work. So I think this would be
Yeah.
a great time for us to introduce some of your heart work, and also if you feel, called to share your journey of the heart, because it's been quite an incredible experience and life journey that you've been on to get to this place now where you can even understand these
Mm.
frameworks and fundamentals in walking yourself through these different expansions in your life.
Yeah. Okay. So where do I begin? Thank you for asking. I mean, to go back on the topic of like, like honoring all the pieces as we let go and these versions of us like falling away is like that's a very important piece. We don't want to like shun these versions of us, these past selves. It's actually so the heart work is where we get to the release with love, with compassion, in a way where we're not judging it, we're not shaming it. We end up in gratitude because it brought us to where we're at right now. And that's how we transmute. So, if anything, bringing the shadow to light becomes like a powerful thing. So, the shadow was never the wrong thing. The thing was that we suppressed it due to shame, due to guilt, due to whatever, we associated that with through whatever our minds were telling us. So, the heart is where it has non judgment. It's like, I see all of you and I accept all of you. But if we're hiding those parts of us and we're not allowing our heart to hold us in it, then this is where we just keep carrying it and then we gravitate and magnetize situations that are there to break us, to help us light the motherfucking shadow. So I guess with the heart work, like why I fully resonate with it is that it started, I guess we can go back to what initiated me into this kind of path is that I went through a heart surgery. This like
Mhm.
over a decade ago, like 2010, right? And I was living through the mind. And by that, it's like there's no shame in the mind and the ego and all that. It's just that when we lead with the mind, this is where we get out of alignment with our truth because the mind comes from a lot of conditioning. It's coming from what we think we need to do, what we should do. It's not so much dropping into the body and asking, what do we actually feel? What do we actually need? What actually lights us up? What makes me alive? Right. So that's how I lived before my surgery. It was like I was controlling every aspect of my life. I was over planning. My Virgo South Node was like totally in control. And at some point, I did that for a period of time and realized, holy shit, like there's still an emptiness, right? But living that way, we get to a space where we feel unfulfilled. Because if we're not following what the heart wants, we will not feel fulfilled. And this is actually what everybody wants in the end. Like, why do we want the things that we want? Is because we want to feel fulfilled. We want to feel alive at the end of it. We want to feel like and this is, that's why you see actors who have really made it and they've gotten like all what they wanted, right? What they wanted, the fame, this and that, but they don't feel fulfilled because maybe they weren't fully expressed in their authenticity. Maybe they didn't actually follow their truth fully, and that's kind of what happened with me with the industry. So, to tie it with that, the surgery of the heart was what catapulted me into this journey of like following the heart. Like, what would that look like? And that meant a lot of identity deaths at the time, right? I was studying in university and marketing, and I was about to go on a Spain exchange, but it happened at the same time. So that made me question, like, oh my God, maybe now I have to listen to my heart. And when I tuned in, even though back then I wasn't doing any of this work, it was like, no, it's not what I want to do right now. And that's when you follow like the nuggets, the pull. It's like, where are you pulled to go? Like, where does it not make any logical sense? And this is what I've been, on this path is like just asking my heart, what does it need? What does it want? Where does it feel alive? And every time you follow that, you get led to the next step. This is the unseen path. It doesn't make any fucking logical sense. I had to like leave a lot of identities. I had to become a nomad. I sat with Mother Aya. I gave up even on the film industry after I went in that direction. But this is the process. This is the journey. It's like we're continuing to follow what our heart actually is calling us forward so that we can become our, fullest authentic expression. When you follow the heart, you get in the frequency of the heart. This is the highest frequency of authenticity. What's alive? It doesn't even have to be positive, quote unquote. It's just like, what do I feel right now? What is alive? And this is also the work that I do. It's like when I tap in with the women who come to me, a lot of the times it's because they've been carrying scripts, old scripts, like conditioning from their upbringing, from what they think success needs to be, from their culture. And this is where we get to look at the script, the belief, the story that we've been telling ourselves, and really like unravel it with love, like in a space where it's like, let's express what is really alive when it comes to these things. And so, yeah, I feel like the heart work is just so important right now, like the frequency of it. It's like we always talk about how, the world is fucking going to shits because there's so much fear, right? And there's so much density. It's the stuff that we've been suppressing, our shadows that we haven't actually felt and received. And this is what happens. It actually, accumulates and then it projects into the outer reality. So now we're going through a cleanup. Everything's coming out. We're being, especially people like you and me, the healers, we're being like initiated through all these death portals for a reason because we are chosen to be part of this raising the frequency of humanity and consciousness, the new earth. It's like we have to do our own shit first. We got to sit with our own shit that we are also carrying from past lifetimes that are not even ours. So that's why I think the pressure is being felt right now. It's because we're in the forward momentum and whatever we still were carrying, that shit is weighing heavy as fuck if we don't let it go now. Like with love. And that's the heart work. It's like we don't do it out of shaming ourselves for what we felt, for what we did, for what we didn't do. We honor the old version of ourselves with the lens of compassion. We feel it and we let it go and we thank it because that's what actually got us to this version of us now that is emerging, right? It's like we're transforming, we're alchemizing emotion, like turning pain into power and like heartbreak into art is what I like to say. And right now, if anybody is going through like a hard time during the transition, what I say is, A, be kind to yourself, but also like where are you navigating from? Right? We can be aware that when we're suffering, we're actually in the mind, we're ruminating on stories, we're holding on to attachment, we're trying to control the situation. But as soon as we drop in our heart, for you, maybe it's movement, for me, maybe it's something else, music or whatnot, art, I find is like straight to the heart. You tap into that space to move through the unknown, through the dark. That's how I see it. And then from then clarity starts to drop in because you're no longer fixated on getting the answer. You're not trying to figure it out. You're in your flow, right? Like today, we flowed. We said, hey, let's get on the podcast. This is raw. This is real. We're doing this. And now we're flowing. And this feels authentic. We're following our heart. We're following what's alive. And through that shit, I don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't even know who's going to watch this later on. We don't know. But at least we know that we showed up. We answered the call. You said to yourself, we're here to embody the next version of us who does podcasts, who, acts on intuition, who like shares our gifts fully in our expression, who is going to be this badass like leader in like retreats and facilitating all over the world, nomadic, this, that, like this is it. When we're being pulled to these moments of opportunity to further embody that, that's when we show the fuck up. Yeah, it's scary. Take a moment, feel that fear, and be like, yo, what version of me am I showing up from now? Like I'm going in with this vision, this leader vision that is like, okay, yeah, okay, it's a bit scary, it's a little uncomfortable. And I'm gonna take my heart with it because if I'm in my heart with it, I can do it. I can fucking do it. And you will always, always expand when you go through the heart. Like when you follow the heart, it's because your heart is asking you to expand into a truer version of you. right? So that's where, I bring in the movie analogy with everything because I see this life as a movie. We're in a motherfucking movie right now. We're going to our next lead role. We're all lead roles of our own movie. Now, the heart directed movie, that's the one where you say, "Hey, I'm not the director. I'm opening to the gateway. The gateway's hitting me up, calling me in for the scene. That's because I'm ready. I'm ready to receive." And this is where we have to let go of control of how the outcome goes, how the scene turns out. Anyway, so that's, I guess, I don't know if that answered your question, but this is why I do this work. It's just, I feel like it's what gets me through the dark at any point.
Thank you for sharing all that. That was really beautifully expressed. And I also want to elaborate on the bigger scale of this work because the wars that we're seeing in the external world are the reflections of all of the shadow and the darkness in our own psyche and the war that we're having inside of ourselves. Because as we continue to do this work and become lighter, light beings,
Hmm.
we create more love, we create more opportunity, we create more alchemy, which makes the interactions that we have with people flow more, the creations that we put into the world flow more. And so we can see how this work is not only creating an internal harmony, but that internal harmony starts to reflect in all of our relationships, all of our things that we approach and that we do. And we can see how when Michael Jackson said start with the man in the mirror, that it is the man in the mirror that starts to change the reflections of the external world.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
you start providing a different landing place for other people to land in your field, for other ideas, for other creations to land inside of you. Because again, as we were talking about capacity, you can hold it now. And you can hold
Mhm.
it with finesse, you can hold it with charm, you can hold it with skill, you can hold it with wisdom and emotional intelligence that allows it to continue to grow and expand. And think about a child that grew up in an environment where it had that,
Mm.
right? And I'm bringing that up because for me a lot of my work was with the inner child,
Mm.
supporting and reframing and reparenting the inner child within me, who the inner child within my parents didn't have a safe space for them to even learn the tools and the insights and the awarenesses so that they could show up in a certain way. And so we can see, yes, it comes, it can be a loop of repeating the same generational patterns that were not resourced, that were not informed. And that's why we do this work, so we can share resources, so we can share insights, so we can share places that people don't even know they can look to
Mm.
grow,
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
even know that these are parts of yourself that need to be seen, acknowledged, expressed, and held in order for you to feel like a total whole human being as opposed to being a mechanical. And one of the things that we're seeing a lot in this world is like this AI takeover, but nothing can take over if you're operating in your authentic truth. If you're being in harmony with who you really are and who God made you to be, a man made creation and an artificial creation cannot replace what is authentic, what is real, what is potent and true.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's crazy what we're seeing on a global scale, but it's also very telling of what's happening to the human condition and
Yeah.
where we need to look or where we need to work to create a different
Yeah. I think we're all
world.
very interconnected here and it's all energy and frequency, right? Like that it comes with energy first into the physical. So like you said, we've been holding a lot and we've been suppressing a lot and the shadows. Yeah, the shadows are being lit right now because this is what humanity needs. We need a clear up, you know? And in these moments where I find astrology is beautiful because we can I used to be like, yo, fuck the retrograde, yo, I gotta, like I'm always like, but you know what, it's part of the cycle. Like we need to go through it because it does help. It helps the process as much as we don't see that it helps. It amplifies what's already there, and there's a lot there. And this is the moment that we get sort of like in an uncomfortable position because there is something that needs to be broken through. That's the discomfort. It's like it's pushing us at the edge of our comfort zone of what we might have been avoiding. Like you said, it's like everything circles back to, yeah, we're reflecting. what is happening and what needs to be shifted.
Transformed. Yeah. And I think, it's important to recognize that these are stages and cycles that we go through. Like the same way we go through seasons and cycles in our own life, we're going to go through seasons and cycles. There's a time for sowing, there's a time for reaping. And today, as we are entering into the equinox energy, this is a time that is known for blooming, for growth, for elevation. But we are touching on these things to also normalize the very real process that happens as you get ready for your bloom.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, absolutely. It's like it kind of goes hand in hand. We talked about the rebirth, you know? You can't be born again without dying first. And like this is where, people are like, I don't want to die, right? This whole death, like how it's been perceived in society is something so scary, right? And that's why I come back to the heart work again. If you die with a heart open, yo, man, the death is going to be a lot more compassionate. But if you die with your mind in it, telling you that you ain't doing shit right, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to amplify that frequency of like shame and guilt. So then you're shaming yourself for feeling ashamed. And then it's like a never ending cycle. And you ain't going to be able to let go and actually be born again because you're still in the same script, the same scene. So I think it's like, we're in a space now where, and there's so many deaths in the physical that have been happening over the past year. So, it's almost like we're starting to, I don't know if we've normalized it, but now obviously in the spiritual world, we're going through deaths and rebirths and dark night of the soul, right? In order to raise our consciousness and up level to this next version of us. So I think now with the shedding of last year, I think we're starting to feel like, okay, death is actually it's necessary. And also, the death becomes a lot more gentle the more that we are open in the process of it. Like, it doesn't have to be super excruciating, right? It doesn't have to be so dark. Like, you could still have a little light on while you're dying, you know? You could just be like, hey, you know what? I don't know what the fuck's going on. Shit, layers are dropping. I got, things are falling apart. But in that moment, what would you like to do that would alleviate the process? A, speak to yourself kinder, as if you were like holding someone else who's dying, number one. Number two, can you be in your heart in that moment? And by that, I mean, get yourself in that space. If there's something that will comfort you on the way of your death bed, whatever it is, then, if I'm going to jam to like, I don't know, Queen Herbie or something in the process, it's like playing in the death, like playing in that space because you know that the next version of you, the next scene that's opening like after the death portal, oh my God, it's gonna be epic, right? But we need to honor the death and we need to hold on to the light inside the darkness of that process. Whatever keeps your light on, whatever keeps your heart open for you to feel that love, for you to be held, whether it's you feeling called to get support from a healer or someone that could hold the space for you to not ruminate on the end and judge yourself, then I say, yeah, whatever works. But I will always be like, hey, if you can alleviate your death process in just a little bit less excruciating, like please, intention, like go towards that intention. And then the death doesn't feel as, scary when it comes around when you're like, oh, I'm going through a contraction. I know a part of me is dying, but I also know a part of me is emerging, which is always like, like the polarizing effect, like the opposition, like you said. It's like people always talk like, yo, I want this. I used to be like that. I'm like, yo, universe, I want this. I want this in my life. I'm ready. I want to do all these things. The universe be like, all right, cool. Let me let you gonna have to die in the process to open up that space to become that. You gonna have to let go of shit. You're gonna have to unpack some stuff in order to make room for these big things that you're calling in. And so I think once we quote unquote normalize or like even start to embrace, and this is maybe the Scorpio in me that's like, yo, man, it's a process of transformation. We got to go through the alchemy. But I think once we start to embrace the death, quote unquote, portals, mm, yo, there's so much gold. Like you said, there's gems in these these places that are dark that we haven't actually fully like went into the scene and was like, hey, I'm open to finding what's here. Like I'm open to seeing what's here. Once we go into that space with that energy, with that curiosity, knowing that this is not the end, it's just the end of an era. We have multiple eras. We're the fucking lead role of our movie. So, you know, if you gonna die in this scene, like just know that the next scene you coming back like even more badass and you gonna be kicking ass in a whole other way. So yeah, that's how I see it.
So good. So, what are some things that we can probably leave this video with that can support people in this next iteration, this growth journey, this after the death comes the light, and how to prepare for that and how to move into it uh, to truly access and harness this horse energy that can propel us with grounded energy?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to start, you can totally start. What do you think? What do you feel?
I think what I would say is being clear on your direction, knowing where you're going. It doesn't mean you know all of the pieces. One of the things that you spoke about earlier was following the pull. And
Mhm,
life is really incredible in that way. It's like it might not give you the whole entire vision. What you'll get is pieces of the puzzle as you go. And as you go, the pieces of the puzzle start to form a bigger picture.
mhm,
And so you don't need to know everything, but you should have direction and clarity, because this allows you to not be fragmented in your energy and not be all over the place. Direction is the masculine container within you that holds the flow, right, which is the part of you that can allow creativity and ideas to move you in many different ways. But having that, I think, is really important. And knowing, ways that you can explore that is knowing your values, knowing what you stand for, knowing where, what is that version of you, spending time with this identity that you're cultivating. Who is she? How does she speak? How does she live? Where is she? What are the qualities? What are her characteristics? What are her morals? What are her, who is this version of you? So getting to know that, spending that time in that will allow you to get clear on what needs to fall off that will not go with that version of you. So the identity work, the self-concept work.
mhm,
Um, as we said, getting rooted in a practice that allows you to have presence with yourself daily, I think, is a really, really important one, because it allows you to cultivate, create, and process what is happening throughout your day. So you continue to keep your filter clear for
mhm,
what's coming in and what's shedding. So presence, any presence practice, and that can look like journaling, that can look like meditation, dance, music, anything that allows you to drop totally in to your inner world. Because a lot of what this work is taking the focus out from what's happening on the outside and bringing the focus on the richness of the inner world.
mhm.
So those are two things that I would say would really allow the momentum to build within you that can completely catapult what you do this year, because you're locked in, centered in relationship, and right relationship with yourself in all your parts, and clear on where you're going. And because you're clear on where you're going, you're also clear on what you're not available for.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I would say to elaborate on the clarity piece, right? Especially in the liminal space, right? Where we're entering like a new scene, a new chapter. Clarity doesn't always, yeah, like you said, like we don't have the full clarity yet, but I think having intention is important. So having intention to be shown the direction, at least on a blueprint level, of what your heart is asking of you. And this is where we follow the breadcrumb step by step as well. And sometimes the reason why we don't have clarity is we haven't had made the space, the time, and the intention to go inside and really feel into like, what is it that I'm feeling called towards? What is it that is, making me feel curious about, or like pulling me in, or like, so I think this is important is that, yeah, create the space and intention to get clear, at least on the vibration, at least on the blueprint of where you feel excited to move towards, what, like at least a picture of it. It doesn't have to be the full picture. And then from that space, start to, like you said, the identity piece is that, okay, so if I'm feeling called to move more towards this direction, what does that mean in my world of the old world? What would I have to let go of? What would I need to like embody? What would I need to show up as, right? Like even this actual podcast is that we're anchoring into this version of us that we feel pulled to grow towards. We may not have all of the pieces of the puzzle of who we're becoming, but we know the feeling. We at least know like what it would feel like after we have gone through whatever period it was to shed, to release, to make space so that you can anchor into what is true to you now, right? Otherwise, we do get a little bit confused because there's still old energy inside of us. So we might not see the picture as clear as when we do have the space and we give ourselves the space to fully tune in.
And taking action.
Yeah,
Because clarity comes in taking action. And I think a fundamental belief that's really helpful here is that whatever happens, life will reroute you if it needs to,
yeah,
right? But it'll also carry you forward if it needs to,
yeah,
right? And so we can't, we like, this is not a year to be on the sidelines. Okay. This is a year to get in the game, do the thing, because it's only in doing that you learn, that you expand, that you grow, that you get the nuggets.
yeah.
Right? You could be consuming all this content, doing all of this stuff. If you're not in the game of life, you're not applying it, you're not embodying it. Life is confused what you're true what you're creating, what you're manifesting because it needs to reflect a person who is it. And
Yeah,
so
exactly. So the aligned action piece comes from really listening to what's the next pull, because that will bring you closer to where you're going to go, where you're yearning to grow, and you will gather information as you go. And that's where it's like you will find out what's clear to you the more you take the steps towards where you need to grow, where you're being called, where you're being pulled, and that's, I think so, the key with this Aries season now and this equinox is like, yeah, we're definitely in a forward momentum. So it's like whatever has been sort of pulling us in that we haven't taken action, like now is the time to take that step. So if that means you need to slash through some fear, feel that shit and go, do it, because this is where you're going to be able to ride with a lot more flow, because this is where we're being called right now, is to move forward, not sit with our shit and like hold on to the past. We're here to act on the new version that we're calling in, that we feel like we want to move towards. And this is where I always say, like, you can take it step by step. Don't worry. Like, you take one step, you won't get the rest of the script. You're going to get the next line. You know what I mean? We don't have it all clear, but like we said, through the practice, through the let me get a little uncomfortable today, like this version of me that I feel like I want to become this year shows up on an IG live once a week, like do in little increments. So then you show up. You show up and then you will be going into that direction because you're gonna anchor into the vibration of
mhm,
this next version of you that you're embodying. So I think, yeah, like you said, it's that time. This is the potent time to be like, if you are still feeling like you can't move forward, there's maybe some things that are weighing in your heart, in your mind, that needs to be given attention to and intention to then release and move forward. That's what I think
and
is
move forward
necessary.
anyway.
And move
Yes.
forward, yeah, move forward anyway, because you will probably shed some more while you move forward. It might not be as like linear and can get a little messy, but it's okay. At least you're taking a step, and that will also probably amplify what needs to go. It will amplify what
And
can
where you're
provide.
going, it will
Yeah,
amplify your new anchor.
your new identity work. This is what it is this year. It's all about identity shifts and taking leaps towards where the higher self, the next lead role identity is calling you forward. And especially for the healers, the light workers, the star seeds, the leaders, like we are being called like we have never been called. And that's why we went through a motherfucking deep death portal process, because Universe is like, no, we don't got time for that shit no more. You gonna rally your tribe, you gonna meet up, you gonna take that action, you gonna book that flight, and you gonna go. I don't have all the answers for you. We don't have all the map for the battlefield, but you gonna show up and the rest is gonna just co-create in its own because then we're following something beyond what our mind thinks. We're following this greater energy, God, like life force. It's just pulling us in, you know? And for me, when you do that, you A gonna expand and B, you gonna be provided for. Not the way that your mind thinks or the timeline that your mind thinks, but trust, like you have to. This is the thing. The unknown can be actually quite exciting if you see it as a gift. I see it as a gift. It's like Christmas time. You get a gift. It's unknown. You don't know what it is, but somebody felt called to give you that gift because it will serve you in some way. You might not be like, you're like, yo, shit, why are you giving me a mic? I don't even sing. Next thing you know, you put that aside. A year later, you're like, oh my God, I feel like I need to sing. My voice is like, I need to express myself. And then you see that it was for a purpose. So this is how the universe works with us, brings you unknown experiences and scenes, doesn't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but it is a gift. And you don't exactly know what that gift is yet. But to stay open and curious in it is the motherfucking key. That's when you're like, oh shit. Yes.
I also want to add to that. The reason why we also don't know the whole pieces is because reality is constantly rendering to us, right? And so we are causing the reverberation. So every time you choose the new identity and choose the direction and choose who you're being, life is like, oh, your wish is my command. Oh, I'm responding to your identity. And so it does it there is a huge responsibility for us, not putting pressure on you, but to follow the pull, to follow the call, because those are where life is unlocking you to find the blessings, to find the magic of life, to unlock a quantum leap.
Mm.
Where it might have taken you in your mind a whole lot of time to do something, but when you followed the pull, it cracked open a whole instant shift in your
Yeah.
world. And constantly we're being given those little nudges like, hey, follow this, hey, do this. And it does look like sometimes decisions that make no sense. It doesn't make any sense for you to make that decision. But it it doesn't have to make sense because, as you said, life is not linear. It can change on the drop of a dime. It can change just like that because you changed something fundamentally within yourself, your relationship to time, your relationship to space, your relationship to what's happening inside of you.
Yeah. Yeah. When you come in with an open heart and open mind, the shift happens real quick. You're like, oh, I'm open at all. Like, show me the fucking magic. Like, I'm here. I'm here for it. I'm ready to play. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, absolutely. It's not even time is like non-existent, as they say, right? For me, when somebody tells me something now, I'm like, I see the possibility in it. Like, is that something that's true to you? Like, do you feel this excitement and aliveness when you talk about this thing that you want to do? Then it's already fucking written and seen. Now we just gotta get out of our own way. This is the thing with humans. We complicate shit. And like, I get it. I've been there. My mind sometimes tries to direct the scene, but it's like, it's actually quite simple if we just open up and listen. But that's the part that's hard because we're so conditioned to protect, to control, to move a certain way because we have certain scripts that we've been embedded in. Like growing up, we got to do this in order to get this. We got no. But this is where it's like we're unconventional. We're here to lead our dopest motherfucking life and scene. And so I say like just play, play, like be like a curious child. Like what's next? How dope can life get? This is something I learned. If you go around like with every single thing that you appreciate or that happens in your field and you say, "Oh my god, wow, amazing! Like how dope can life get?" Yo, universe is like, I'm gonna show you how dope it's gonna get because it responds. Like you said, you claim it, it responds, but it has to be felt. It has to be embodied. It has to be something that you're like, I deserve this, right? I deserve this, and that's why the deeper you go into your heart versus the mind, the deeper you feel that abundance and that limitless and that feeling. And this is why the true warrior goddess archetype is someone I work with, the archetype I work with, because she's a badass. She's like, I don't see limits. I am ready to go. I'm like, yo, I'm rising through the fire. Yo, this is my playground. Yo, like fear, okay, I see it, but I can move through it. You can move through it. Like we ain't here to deny the difficulties, the obstacles, quote unquote, in this world. But if we start to see it as a game, as a movie, it gets so damn exciting. And the unknown, as you were saying, like my friend said, Christine, you gonna know when you need to know. And that's the beauty of it too. Sometimes we try to like, ooh, what is it? What's the answer? Yeah, that's the mind trying to figure it out. But actually the mystery and the growth and the medicine is in the moments that you actually don't know. Because how you show up in the unknown is your point of expansion. People can say, oh, yo, I'm feeling dope in the vortex of Bali. And, I've been there. I lived there. I know. And then you come back to a dense place, like, in a more city like environment around the 5G and all that. And you're like, oh shit, like it's not as easy no more. But this is the thing. That's the initiation. It's not being where everything is perfect and all unicorns and rainbows and light, then we're spiritually bypassing of what's happening in this fucking world. Like we can open up our eyes and be like, shit, I have compassion. And yes, I am holding the space for it. And also I'm being reflected of where am I not showing up? Where am I not listening? Where am I not acting out of love? And this is where we get to do the deeper work, not when we're in like perfect conditions, like when we're in the dark. Like how you show up in that moment is your initiation. Cause, you know, that's the real fucking work. That's why this nomad journey, like, that we're very drawn to. Why are we drawn to the nomad journey? Because it's unknown. It's exciting. People want the unknown, but they're just afraid of how they'll feel if they don't get it the way that they think they need to get it and in the time that they need to time, because they're like associating to like an outcome of like, oh, if I don't do this I'm going to fail, if I don't do this on time I'm going to fail, or how am I going to feel if this doesn't happen that way. That's why people don't take the leap to the unknown, because they don't know how to control it. And if you lose control, you're like, oh my god, what's going to happen? I'm going to stay with the safety zone because I know the prediction. But we ain't here to play it safe no more, yo. Look at this world. Like, you want to feel alive as fuck. You said it yourself. I don't want to have regrets. So if you don't want to have regrets, what does that mean? You won't have to take the leap or need to take the leap that is not a guarantee, because that's actually what makes us alive. It's not actually knowing every fucking detail. The aliveness, the moment your heart beats and you're like, oh my God, what's happening here? Like, oh my God, I'm going on stage. I'm going to like perform for the first time in front of people. I get to share my medicine. Like, that's the aliveness. Is it scary? Absolutely. Do you know what's going to happen? No. Do you know if people are going to receive you? No. But if you follow the pull and if you show up and if you, speak from the space of the heart of what's alive in that moment, which I've done in, DJing and whatnot. I like my imposter syndrome was like, shit, girl, you gonna DJ like once or twice? You think you gonna do this? And then this is where it's like, all right, like what does my heart actually feel like right now? What does it want? Like it wants to do it. It wants to express. Our heart wants to express. And then the moment you do it, you're like, oh my God, oh my God, I've landed home. Oh my God. But see, if you let the mind control you all up into like, oh my God, how is this gonna happen? What's gonna happen after? You ain't ever gonna do it. And what you can do is you're just gonna live on that dream in your mind. And you know what? This is not time to live in the mind, in the dream. We're here to live the dream. The dream is already something that is actually a timeline that exists. We just need to tap into the vibration that matches the frequency of the dream and start asking the universe and the director of our heart and be like, what is next? What do you need me to like take a step towards? What do you need me to open up? What do you need me to let go? And then after that shit, girl. I mean, I could talk about this shit all day. Holy shit. But you catch the drift. Yeah, we're on that journey. We're on that path. Like the unknown for me now is fucking fun. I'm like, yo, let's do it. I'm ready to go. What's gonna happen? I don't know. But I know it's gonna be dope. I know it's gonna be like doper in the sense that like we're with where I'm at. Like I've gone through the release. You've gone through the release. So it's like we're not regressing at this point. Energetically, we can't even fucking regress. We've already opened up the field. Like we've seen things, we've felt things, right? So now it's like, if anything, the challenge that might come, the next initiation, it'll match where we're at, which for me now is like, oh, so that means even bigger expansion after that. Damn, okay, I already feel lit up. I already feel, on a higher self. But okay, you can take me higher. And it's not like I'm asking the universe, like, hey, bring me some more death portals. No, I'm not asking that. I'm asking for a gentle play and whatnot. Also open to what is needed, but if we look at it from that lens, yo, we're great. We're doing great. We're exactly where we need to be. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I'm ready. Are you ready too?
Let's
Okay.
go. Let's go. So, on that note, we want to wish everyone a happy equinox, happy blooming season, wherever you are in your process. And
Yes.
yeah, if you, are there any last words that you want to leave them with?
I mean, I would say, yeah, get excited about what's coming because it's coming and you've made the space and you're ready. And it's like, we can be excited for that. Stay open, stay curious, stay listening, tune in. Like, the universe, your heart, God, spirit, like it's excited for you to be on this next journey. Like we've been through it. It's okay. We can exhale now. Exhale. We are equipped to go to the next the next scene. You're equipped. You have some codes, you have some keys, you can unlock some things. So play in the unlocking and just know you have the capacity to hold more and also to move through what comes next as well. Like trust that, you know. All right, that's why I say happy equinox. Like, this is gonna be epic. It's gonna be epic.
I love that. There's a memory that's coming to my mind. One day I was at a festival and I met this man who he had no limbs. And one of the things that he said that helped him to transform his life is every day he would wake up and he would say, "Today is the best day of my life. Today is the best day of my life."
Mm.
And so he would anchor this energy looking forward to creating, co creating the best day of his life. And again, this is not to say that you won't have fluctuations of experience, but you can continue to get back into the energy of gratitude and recognize the blessings and the beauty that's already around you and channel that energy into being the best day and the best moment of your life because we don't know how long we have here. And every moment is precious and can be used to express all that is within us. And yeah, my wish for all of you that are listening to this is that this year you really discover the velocity and the magnitude and the beauty and the love and the overflow and the abundance and everything that is you, that is always around you. And
Mhm.
giddy up.
Hey, get on that horse, with intention, obviously. And yeah, it'll take you far for sure. For sure. Aries season, baby. Let's go. We
Let's
on
go.
fire now.
All
Uh,
right.
thank you. Thank
Peace
you
and
for yeah,
blessings, family.
thank you for
Thank
this
you for joining us.
conversation.
At the bottom of this video, I will link both of our pages, our information, and you can follow along on this journey as we're going to be putting out so much more resources and content and things that you can dial into, events, all this kind of stuff that is to come. And stay tuned. We'll see
Stay
you on the
tuned.
next one.
Stay tuned.
Subscribe, like, leave a comment. Let us know what you took from this video. If there was anything that came up for you, anything that you were inspired by, it's helpful to uh, leave it in the comment and we'll be sure to respond to you and send you lots of love.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Peace, peace. Much love.
All right. How do we end this video? How do we end it? All right, here we go.